welcome to the Swift Half, your weekly session of chat from the UKOCR and adventure running scene. Each week, pub landlord Alan and our favourite regular Ian discuss races, runners and anything else that comes to mind. So pull up a pew, pour yourself a drink and join us for the Swift Half.
You're listening to the fifth most popular podcast for people who know that OCR is the illegitimate love child of steeplechase and It's a Knockout.
Hey, my friend, welcome to the Swift Half. How are you?
I'm good, Alan. How are you?
Still aching from this crazy thing I did at the weekend where I decided to run up a mountain and back down, followed by another mountain and back down. But I'm good otherwise. I had my first recovery run yesterday and it felt good.
What, first recovery run ever?
Actually, I never popped it on, but it could have been good. I hate that thing when people put recovery runs, the next day when really they've not really done nothing day before. But no, I had a few days off. But yeah, probably my first time. I've never suffered from DOMS before, like I did. So yeah, yesterday was my first recovery run.
I'm smiling because anyone who follows me on Strava probably thinks, gosh, Ian must be the most recovered runner in existence because all of them look like recovery runs.
Do you put recovery runs? Do you change it to recovery run?
No, I don't think I change anything on Strava. Not often. I'm one of them people, I think all mine say evening run or morning run. I might change the odd one for, say, if I do a marathon, I'll change that to marathon. And all my zones just say workout. That's all we say, workout. So, Alan, should we talk about what we're drinking and then let's go straight on to Man versus Mountain?
Yes, let's go on to it. So I am drinking tonight, and I'm going to love this. I'm on a cider tonight. Summer's here, the sun's out. What a better way than a nice, cold, fruity drink. It is Koppenberg 0 alcohol % cider.
So what type of cider is it? Is it apple? Because I know Koppenberg do flavours.
Strawberry and lime.
Actually, it sounds more like a milkshake.
It's quite nice, actually. It's refreshing. And what art thou drinking? Oh, posh that, wasn't it? What art thou
Something
drinking?
very similar. It is a Ribena Black Currant, and I think it's got more alcohol in it than your Koppenberg.
It probably has, actually. And talking about drinking, I was disappointed that weekend. I'm going to tell you the first thing I was disappointed about Man v Mountain. When I crossed the finish line, I was given a token. Yeah? Get a token. What is it for? Guaranteed that token is going to be like a beer. It's always a beer. You get a token, you finish Total Warrior, you go get a token, you go get a beer. Every race I've ever done where you got a token is you get a beer. Guess what you got at Man v Mountain?
What did he get you?
In that 30-degree heat, they gave you a bowl of soup.
Bowl of soup?
A bowl of soup. A bowl of soup. After running 23 miles in blistering heat, they gave us a bowl of soup. And a piece of balsa wood.
To dip in the soup?
Do you know, I reckon that's probably all it will wear for this piece of balsa wood. Dip in the soup and have your... Oh, no. Absolutely crazy.
Could we circle back a little bit? I was joking about my Ribena having more alcohol than your Koppenberg. What about that post on the group this past week where Mike pointed out that lots of things have alcohol in that you don't really know?
It's crazy, this, because it's some of the things I saw on there, and I was like, no. Are you going to go through them?
Yeah, let's have a quick look. So this is on the podcast pub for the Patreons and people who we let in due to sweat equity. But let's have a quick look at what Nolan put on there. So on the comments, he said that bread, so burger rolls, between 1.18 and 1.28% ABV.
Oh, bread. That's crazy. So you can get drunk drinking bread?
Well, eating bread. If you drink bread, you'd probably get it on your lungs or something.
It doesn't sound right that you can get drunk eating something.
Well, you could get drunk eating trifle, I guess. Apparently, very ripe bananas will give you 0.4% ABV. I
like the mustard, 1.5 to 2% on mustard.
Probably explains why I really like mustard.
We've got a guest entering here. So we bring him in.
Coming into the pub. Yeah, bring him in. We can talk about Man versus Mountain later.
Let's see if he knows that these foods have alcohol content. Matt B. Davis, welcome to the pub.
Oh, hello, Alan.
You have to really think about my name then.
No, it says your name right there. I was just trying to I don't know, I just felt like being significant. Hello, Alan. I know here in the pub we have to say what we're drinking, so I'm drinking some homebrew iced coffee. I went home for lunch and there was about a third of the pot left. So, one great thing about old hot coffee, it becomes iced coffee. So you put in it, little oat milk, and cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. I'm into frappes at the moment. Iced frappes.
Frappes.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. We're just talking, Matt. Did you know that certain foods contain alcohol?
Well, tiramisu does. That's a big one.
Yeah.
And so I avoid, I don't drink, and it's cooked off, quote unquote. And so people have a lot of things made with alcohol, and I just try to avoid all of them altogether. I just take the safe route if it says cooked with wine or whatever. But the last time I had tiramisu was in San Francisco, and I had a bite, and oh boy, like my head almost exploded. And so they clearly either put too much or forgot to cook it off or whatever. But anyway, what else has alcohol in it?
You like mustard on your burgers?
Mustard. Isn't it made with vinegar or something?
Well, I don't know. Ian, you might know this, but is it made with vinegar?
I believe it is, and that's probably what adds to the alcohol content, because there's also alcohol in soy sauce as well, which is a vinegar-based condiment.
Is this the Swift Half cooking show?
This is the cooking element of the Swift Half. No, Mike Nolan has given us a list of foods that actually contain alcohol in it. So burger rolls or rye bread actually contain 1.2% ABV alcohol.
Is that why if you let them sit out for a little bit, they just quickly go bad? Is that why?
I think it could be, yeah. Some yogurts contain 2% alcohol. All vinegars have it. I think it's just crazy that we don't actually realise that we're drinking or we're eating alcohol in some of the food we get. Maybe they should have, little signs on the side saying alcohol content.
Could you imagine losing your driving license because you had 3 burger buns?
3 burger buns with mustard on. I drank a pint of mustard, Your Honour.
Oh gosh, we shouldn't have suggested that. Matt, we were talking, obviously, we've been talking about things that have alcohol in, but you've kind of come into a pub with news from over the pond. There's been a couple of massive things in our 2 favourite races, Tough Mudder and Spartan. So which one do you want to talk about first?
How about Spartan?
Let's talk about Spartan. And Matt, because you brought this news, do you want to tell all the listeners what the news is?
Well, to clarify, Spartan owns Tough Mudder, or moreover, Spartan, which created a parent company called, I want to say, OCR US Holdings Limited or something. I could Google it. We learned of this when Ian and I became basically best mates in 2019, 2020, when Tough Mudder essentially folded. Joe saves it. They let it sink so that Joe could save it. Anyway, it's one company now, and they've been operating as 2 entities. And as I've been saying for the last couple of years, let's hope Spartan doesn't really get its mitts into Tough Mudder, because we think maybe it might bring them both down a little bit. So the latest news from Spartan is Joe DeSena announced yesterday that for at least the next 3 years, the Spartan World Championships, which was famously in Killington for 3 years and Tahoe for 4, is now in Abu Dhabi the last 2, and apparently the next 3 or more. And almost all the responses have been negative on feed. A couple Spartan homers are like, we love it because it's tough, or what have you. Do a lot of Spartan honks there go? I haven't checked the numbers. It just seems like it's a losing, other than the immediate cash, however much that is, and we'll never know. I don't see it as a people going, yay, I travel for 18 hours to run on sand, which I don't ever run in.
From my understanding from the UK side, last year, not as many went as the previous year, is from my understanding from the UK. Did it clash with another race last year? Was it some other big race it clashed with last year?
I can't remember, but the new car smell had definitely fallen off it. So year 1, you kind of think, oh, wow, this is amazing. We can govern. Of course, for the UK, it's not that far, is it, Alan? We've just had High Rocks Dubai, and the podiums were filled with Brits because it's only a 3-hour flight, or it might be a 4-hour flight, whatever it is. It's not that far. You could do it in a few days. But you are right, Alan. It's like a one and done for most people.
That was the impression I got, that, the first year everyone rocked up to it from the UK. Then last year it was very much you had a handful of people from the UK. Is this purely money orientated, Matt?
I mean, listen, if you or I or anyone was offered Middle East money to do anything, we'd probably take it. So I'm not here to throw stones at Joe's way of putting money in his pocket or how to run his business. But I think the frustrating part is that it seems like another in a long line of decisions that don't really favor the customer. And with whatever this magical check is, does this mean Joe will now pay the athletes, who apparently some of which have still not been paid, or et cetera, et cetera? So, I mean, nothing seems like, I'm so into it. It's hard for me to see outside of it, but it just feels like almost everything they do seems like a weird tone deaf. I mean, I don't know how much you guys talked about the silly Mona Lisa thing, but it's all kind of in the same vein, isn't it? I mean, Alan, you've been in the sport almost as long as me. What do you think with this, with what I'll call Spartan silliness? Because
I'm going to be straight up and honest with this. I have never really followed Spartan. So Spartan to me, straight up, it's been a business that it's purely out and out for money. That's how I saw it in the early days. It's never really changed it changed my attitude slightly. I've met a few people involved with Spartan. So I think the woman that changed my mind was about back in 2016. A girl called Colleen managed it over in the UK for a while.
Yes.
We got on really well. Me and Colleen spoke several times. It looked like things were changing. And then all of a sudden she vanished and things didn't change. And then again, I didn't follow it in terms of they've had a race series over here and the people who are competitive follow it. But over here in the UK, there was many events. There were plenty more events than just Spartan. And I mean, there was like, you had little events like Ram Run, and I say little when it takes about 1,000 people, but it would have 4 events a year. You've got Wolf Run, 3 to 5,000 people every event, 4 events a year. And the UK is that small that Spartan was never a big fish. It was just another fish, if that makes sense.
But it seems like you have the honks, as we call them, that are just as strong as our honks, which just, they drink all of the Aru juice and everything Spartan does is amazing. And, we can't wait to do XYZ and their big Spartan podium AG people and like those kinds of people, right? You have a lot of those. Yeah,
we do. Yeah. Everything's Joe's the God. Joe is the Messiah. And yes.
I'm actually curious about actually, going back to what you were saying about the honks Vermar, I do think that some of the Spartan diehards, they are seeing, like, I don't know, the gleam being taken off Spartan a little bit. Alan, are you seeing that with some of our friends who are out and out Spartan honks, but who are a bit, I just can't defend this decision?
I've seen it from the last 2 years here now, and without blowing our trumpet in the UKOCR scene, but since we started our race series last year, I've seen a lot more people who just purely race Spartan going to other events and racing in different events and maybe not shouting from the rooftops about Spartan that they used to. There are still people who do, we've got really good friends who do, but not everyone's shouting from the rooftops now. They're shouting about other events. We've got the European champs. Everyone's talking about European events at the minute. What's the one with the axes that's happening very soon in Europe? I can't remember what that one's called.
Well, we got Viking in its name.
Yeah, but it is Viking something. That's a Viking warrior, something like that. That's happening. Some people are shouting about that from that scene. You've got Luke, who's moved away from Spartan. You've got Jack, who's moving to other events as well. Jack Carpenter, Luke Benedictus. They were really all the Spartan honks, and they're moving slightly, and that tells you.
Hang on, Luke de Benedictus and Jack.
Yeah,
they were the honkest of the honks, weren't they?
Very much so. Very much so. Them and Scotty Barker, yeah.
Team GB.
Yeah.
Team Spartan GB.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, Luke has moved very much away from Spartan. He's actually moved a little bit away from OCR now. He's doing some triathlons and things like that. He'll probably come back. But I know Jack himself is now looking at other events and saying Spartan isn't the only race series out there, that there are other events, and he's doing specialist training for them as well.
Well, to clarify, so I'm assuming mostly United Kingdom and Europe audience knows the Spartan numbers over here are really strong. So there's a lot of people coming from their gym and whatnot. But from the professional side, the sports side, which are the people that are going to go to Abu Dhabi, I don't think you're going to have, Bob and his friends from the office go to Abu Dhabi. It's going to be people who are chasing age group podiums or just a racecation, if you will, but enjoy Spartan. But our friend Scott, the Fane Knowles, isn't going to go, and he takes Spartan for what it's worth. He and his girlfriend love the races. They travel a bunch with their friends. They have a good time. They do a few trifectas a year, but they're not gonna go to Abu Dhabi, and they like the product. So again, I think if Joe was like, hey guys, here's the deal. I took Saudi money, I took oil money, and guess what? With that, I'm going to put on this, and this, and here's where we're going to improve everything in America, and here's how I'm going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, there'd be a way to spin it, but that doesn't seem to be what Joe is doing. He just said, great, this is my second home now, whatever that means, if you watch the video that came out. So I want to see the numbers. Can I do a live check while you guys are chatting? I want to see how many people went last year.
Yeah, you check that. And Alan, I've got a question for you, and I'd like Matt to answer it as well. Do you think that this could lead to a situation where the Spartan World Champion isn't actually considered a world champion? We have it in boxing all the time, don't we? Where different federations, some of the challenges are so weak, for lack of a better description, that you don't consider them the real world champion. Instead, you consider, say, the WBF or the WBC champion. But could you have a situation where the field at Spartan is so sparse that people are like, well, it's obviously OCR WC or it's World OCR is the real world champ?
Well, I think
give you my opinion.
Some people already think that. Some people,
I do. I think that Spartan's not the world champion. Yeah, it's the Spartan world champion, not the world champion. The world champion is the one who goes to OCRWC. That's the world champion to me.
I've always kind of like put them all together so that the WTM, the Adventure, and the Spartan, they're kind of like on equal levels, like that boxing world champ. But it's interesting that you already see it as slightly down. What about you, Matt? Have you always put them together, or have you always seen it, or you're just Spartan champ?
Well, I've seen them as equal because the level of competition has been good enough. It's always been like, yeah, there was always one or another that wasn't at one or the other. Like some people always do both, some didn't, but it was always like, yes. But if you're saying that the level of talent is going to go down so much, but they also remember now they're going to have two distances, 3K, which has the bulk of the money, and the 15K. So the 15K, which is the distance that most people race at on a regular basis, right, is only going to walk away with 5,000, and the world champ, quote unquote, was going to walk away with 15. So let's do some quick math. Are you ready?
Yeah.
So 95, you want to keep track of this, Ian?
Let's do 95. Yep.
Okay, 95. That's Saturday Super Elite. Saturday Beast age group, 339. It's weird. The age group for hang on. Sorry. We might have to start over. Okay, we're gonna start over. You ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So 95 and 33 is Saturday Super Elite. So do you want to add those together?
So 95, 33. Yep. Cool.
Okay. Age group is 98 and 339.
Yeah.
Beast Open is 293 and 76.
Yeah.
Sunday Super Open 157 and 461. Still there?
Yep. Still here waiting.
Oh, you didn't say yep. And Sunday Sprint Open, the biggest one, 599 and 303. So I'm going to guess 3,400 is what that number is. Will you tell me, though?
Ian's doing the maths. Drum roll, please.
I'm not doing the maths. I'm literally just doing equal sum.
I could have done this by now in my own.
2454.
Okay, so even less than I thought. So 2,400 people. So I'm going to guess that's considerably less than Tahoe, which I think was like a 10K weekend.
For a world championship, that looks low. That looks very, very low. 2,500 for a world championship weekend, isn't it?
Wait a minute, hang on a second. I'm looking at in 2021. Is that possible? In 2021 was 1918. And what was this, 2,400? So 500 more people.
That still seems low for a world championship.
It was very low. I'm going to view Tahoe in 2019. Tahoe in 2019, 6,000. But, they would say 10,000 because of spectators and kids.
Yeah.
2018 Tahoe. It looks like 6,400 in Tahoe in 2018.
Which is what I would have expected to see at World Championships. Any World Championships, I'd be expecting 6,000 plus. 2,454 tells you, if you're getting, what's that? That's less than half of what's been going before. That tells you that the athletes are speaking with their feet, doesn't it? The athletes don't want to go that far, or it's the wrong event for them to go to.
Yeah. Now, Joe is saying, well, now that everyone knows it's here, it's going to do better. And if he uses that, if that logic is true, and the numbers did go slightly up this year, right, from 1,900 to 2,400, or that's actually a 20% jump. That's decent. But if it doesn't keep doing that, then we're in trouble. So we'll definitely know this year. But again, I think most of those open waivers were local.
Yeah.
So you could just do that any time of year. You could have a Spartans Super any time of year. It wouldn't make a difference. If this is a world championship where it used to be 8,000 in the heyday, 8 to 10,000 at Killington, because I quickly looked over at Killington, and now it's closer to 6. But that's a big difference. I mean, that's what, 60% jump? What is that? Or 300%? I'm bad at math.
Yeah. And you'd get more than 2,400 if you put it in little old Ireland. If you went to Ireland, you get more than 2,400 run there because you get all the UK contingent go there.
So yeah.
It's not good. It doesn't look good, that.
Ian's talking, but he's muted.
I always do that, Matt. Don't worry. I was going to say we probably shouldn't also discount the fact that this year it was actually easier to get to the venue. You didn't have the silly go to the Doom Buggy thing that put a lot of people off the first year. So in 2022, it was easier to get to the venue, which might have accounted, and it probably definitely accounted for a big jump in the local attendees because you were then in a bit more of a major area. It's like the difference between Alan putting on High Rocks in Manchester and putting High Rocks in Aberdeen.
Yeah. You're going to get more. I get that more in Manchester because it's easier to get to. Like
Speaking of which, I was curious, so I just went and had a look at the Dubai numbers for High Rocks because the same area, and I can't add them up quick enough, but based on finishers, probably had about 1,000 there this week for their first ever in the same area, and it wasn't a World Championships; it was just a let's go and do a High Rocks.
Right.
It would be interesting to delve deeper and see like who rocked up in 2 years in a row and who didn't rock up 2 years in a row, and do some really deep analysis on those numbers, because I'm sure, as what Ian's just said, with it being close to the city, that although it was a 20% increase in numbers, was it actually 20% of Spartan honks and Spartan racers, or was it 20% of locals that went and just did AG?
Right. And listen, they'll take the money regardless. Open. It's even the open. It's not like that doesn't count. But again, it's in a long line of Spartan getting money for a location, but not delivering. So I think Tahoe is a great example of it working. They have a great relationship with the mountain. The Tahoe gave them a check for $250,000, and we know that through public records and public meetings. It's a great location. People love Tahoe. They go to Tahoe. A little bit difficult to get to, but worth it, right?
Yeah.
But then if you look at the Iceland World Championship, really low numbers, beautiful to get to, right?
Yeah.
Sweden, beautiful, expensive to get to. Telluride, they had less than 300 racers for a world champion. That is when they killed the 24-hour race because they put it in Telluride, which is ridiculously expensive. So, and again, we assume they got some money from the city of Telluride or promised them something. And so, again, it's not that like people do this. People put on races. People work with cities. Conventions do it. Races do it. So it's not that it's all bad. But again, it's like, do I want to go to Abu Dhabi? Do I want to get on the phone? Do I want to get on a plane for this long? To race in sand? To race in a 3K distance, which I don't even really like or understand. Like that's what the people who are taking the sports side seriously have to think about. And all those three things in a row is kind of like, or they went once and it was like, that was fun, cool experience. I'm not going again.
What's the talking about the 3K race there, Matt? What's the feedback in America about the 3K race? Are the athletes liking it? Are the athletes not liking it? What's the chatter over there?
I think they're people who like it, but even, I think VJ Jones famously said, this event distance is built for me, but I'm not going to do all of them. And that goes along with the other piece of the puzzle, which is that they cut the prize money in half. Spartan used to spend $3,000 for the first place for their, what we call the national series or the North American series, and they cut that to $1,500. So again, it's like, do I want to travel to do this? 3K series does not fit a lot of people. You got to race 1K and then 1K and then 3K for the final, and it's all kind of a mess.
Over here in the UK, it is really 50-50. The athletes I've spoken to are really some are like keen on it. They're saying it's much better for spectators to watch and things like that. But
where are the spectators?
Well, they're not either. That's the problem, because it's not being attracted. They're not attracting the spectators either. They're not, they're not bringing them in and building stands for them to watch them at. It's literally like there's nothing new. Stand at the side and watch.
Well, and it's 5 o'clock on a Friday, 4 o'clock on a Friday. A lot of people, can't get off work sooner. And I had heard there was a big crowd in Mexico for their race on a Friday, but then I later learned it was already like a thing going on there, like the military, and that's who the spectators were. And again, if they promised a spectator friendly package, but then there's like they aren't getting spectators there, and they didn't find a television partner. OCR Report decided to do it on their own, so that's the only reason we're even seeing it. If OCR Report didn't step in, we wouldn't even see it. So again, another just kind of a long line of Spartan saying, here's what we're gonna do, and then not quite not finishing the job.
Yeah.
Because when I talked to last December, I did a call with Steve Hammond and Dave Watson, and they were like, oh yeah, working on a TV product, it's gonna be amazing. And none of that happened.
So in happier news, have we got anything else to talk about Spartan, or should we move on to WTM?
What's happening in WTM world, Matt?
Well, we'd waited a long time to hear whether they were going to deliver on prize money, and there is good news. There is some prize money. The bad news is they announced it very late in the game, and it's about half of last year's. So is the cup of coffee half empty or half full? That's up to you to decide.
So if you and I look on Zendesk, it says there that the winners for both men and female are just going to get a 24-hour season pass. They're now actually going to get a bit of prize money for entering at 400 and something pound. They're going to get a bit of prize money.
Wait a minute, Gary hasn't updated the Zendesk yet. We better get him on that.
No, it's still there. Top prize money. Top prize for men is a 24-hour season pass. Sorry, 24.
Well, then you should go to the best place for obstacle racing news, known as Obstacle Racing Media. 12 years of bringing you all the inside information you need. Go to the Instagram, and you will read the latest. That's more updated than the Zendesk.
Exactly. That's where we all get our news from. It's from you.
I'm happy to do it.
Talking about news, I'm going to quickly just jump off this. What's happened to my weekly show? Why aren't I getting to my Monday regular weekly show? I'm sorry, but I've got to ask you this, because it's been my go-to podcast for years, and I'm missing it.
Well, I think that's why I'm on this show this week, because I wanted to have Ian on my weekly show, and he said, you can't have me. Why don't you come on my show? So for this week, you can at least blame him. There hasn't been a lot of obstacle racing news. That's kind of the problem, is that without a big money series, I mean, Savage has a series, but it's essentially like they already tell their races, so there was a lot to talk about earlier. There hasn't been a lot to talk about, unfortunately. But this is championship season, as we say, so I think it's about to get really busy. You've got the World Obstacle Championships in Genk in Belgium. Then you've got the OCR World Championship, now also part of Spartan, in Mammoth, World's Toughest. Am I forgetting anything?
British OCR Championships.
British OCR Championships.
Yes.
British Junior OCR Championships.
Hey, yeah, don't forget the juniors in Swanbourne, but the British Championship. Oh, I wonder, Alan, here's the gauntlet. Can we get more people to the British Championships than the Spartan Worlds?
Oh, no, that's...
What would it take? What would it take to do that? I'm on it, man. What would it take to do that?
I'm
I
not
just
sure.
think you should scare the hell about it. We have been doing anyway, but I mean, I don't know how many it's going to go, but I would imagine they get more to a UK Spartan race than the normal Spartan race than they do at the World Championship. So I'm certain the British champs will be full. I reckon there will be more than 3,000. So.
Let's see that. Let's promote that. But yeah, I should perhaps correct a little bit. Unfortunately, I am now kind of on holiday after we record this until Monday, so I just couldn't fit Matt in to record a weekly show. A good friend of ours, and we talked about this on the show. Nick Bowerman is finally here. He went and had fun at Nuts last week. He's finally made his way up England, and I'm going to spend some time with Nick.
Oh, nice one. So you're going to be American in your mist as well?
I am. We're taking him to Blackpool, so I might be free because that's on day one. So presumably after he sees Blackpool, he'll fly home. I'm kidding, Blackpool. I love Blackpool.
Matt, you never got to go to Blackpool when you came over, did you?
I did not.
It's like a very poor man's Vegas. And I say a very poor man's Vegas.
People get poor when we get to Vegas, though.
They do.
Okay.
Before we talk about World's Toughest, I want to quickly touch on British champs because we just touched on it and there's some breaking news on that, Ian. And I need to keep our British fans happy. So there are going to be 2 new categories. We have got the para category. So adaptive athlete category, there's going to be an actual race purely utterly for para athletes, which I think is the first dedicated one that we've ever had on UK soil, if I remember rightly. I don't know if we've ever had anything like this on UK soil before. So the British champs are doing that. And there's going to be a masters category as well, an elite masters category. So people who have qualified in the UKOCR series, top 20, they can qualify and compete in the masters category, which is completely new in the UK game. It's always just been a straight up race, no matter what your age group is. But we have got an elite masters category as well as para category coming forward. And that's great news.
When is this race? 8th of October.
Yes.
That's the same date as OCR World Championships this year, correct?
It is yes. Same as Mammoth.
Well, that's unfortunate. Will you be there? Will the UKOCR show have a contingent there?
Yes. The plan is at this moment in time 99%. Whoever we get there, we're not sure on, but 99% we will have somebody there. we have people at most races now, so yeah, we will have the. My plan. What about
the two? But what about the 2 head honchos? What about you two? Is it close to either of you live?
No, unfortunately, it's not close to where we live. It's the other end of the country for both of us.
Because it's in Pippingford.
It is. We have to go around the M25, which is like it's in its own self. It's a complete different experience. But I'm hoping to get down there for it. I'll be honest, I'm hoping to get down there. About 90% certain at this moment in time. I haven't been asked to work on that date, which is good so far. So yeah, we will have to. Fingers crossed. 8th of October, I will be there.
Pippingford Park in Nutley.
Yeah,
just north of the Good Vibration Society. What is the Good Vibration Society? I just clicked on it.
You don't want to know. You probably don't want to know.
It looks like a rave.
It probably is.
Oh, it's a rave.
No, that's not as much fun as it could be.
I've never heard of the Good Vibration Society. What was the song on that Italian job? We are the Good something society or something, wasn't it? No,
you lost me, Alan.
South Preservation Society, nothing to do with good.
Oh, it's music and it's workshops and blah blah blah.
Let's go back to World's Toughest Mudder. Tell me some prize money, Matt.
Okay, as per my own plot post, which I will read to you now for those that are not currently following, and if they follow this show, they most certainly should follow Obstacle Racing Media. It says World's Toughest Mudder is a little more than 8 weeks away. The community has been anxiously awaiting prize money news for this year's event in Granbury, Texas. Today, TMHQ announced the payouts for top 3 along with their reasoning on the delay of today's announcement. And it says, we've held off on announcing prizing as we thought through where our budget was best allocated, weighing a prize purse for a few top athletes versus an enhanced experience or rewards for many athletes. Ultimately, we decided on a balanced approach to investment, setting a healthy prize purse to enhance competition at WTM, whilst also debuting a new achievement perk the 75-mile belt buckle, and enhancing the overall event experience. Cash prizes will be for the top 3 male and female runners, 5,000, 2,500. Additional prizes for top performers, parentheses, free entries, passes, medals, etc., will be returning as well. Now, I'm going to read a little bit more from an email that I got, which was a little discerning, a little disheartening. Let me read this to you really quickly, because this part I was a little confused by. I want to get your thoughts. Okay. On the email that went out, which was a little bit more information on the belt buckle and blah, 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 check-in for the elite contenders, the pit selection, it says, we're happy to report that we decided that prize purses are fun and help to attract great competitors from other sports that haven't yet had the quote unquote pleasure of experiencing why we think WTM is the best event around. So it sounds like they're saying with this prize money, it helps attract people from other sports.
And what the prize money? So what's the first prize getting? What's the first prize? The actual amount?
5,000.
So the first male get 5,000. The first female 5,000.
Yes, last year it was 10.
How would that compare to some of the other, let's call them Division 1 athletes over in the States who compete regularly? Is 5,000 a lot of money?
Well, running as a whole doesn't have a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
Very, very, very top. Okay, if you win the Boston Marathon, let's type that in. How much does the Boston Marathon winner get? That person gets, the fastest man and woman win 150,000. Masters gets 5K. So if you win the Boston Marathon, good for you, and you probably have a lot of sponsors to go with it. But for most races, there isn't a lot of money, but it's certainly not enough to, I think, switch your training. And is September 6th enough time to train you for an event on November 6th?
No. What athletes are they expecting from other sports to suddenly go, cool, I've got 8 weeks to prepare for a 24-hour race, better up my, 100-meter sprinting?
Yeah, that's why it's a weird message to me, because it also makes it sound like that's the only reason they did it. Like, well, you who were come anyway, who cares? We're putting in money. We're going to give you this great experience, and we don't even know what that is yet, right? Bigger obstacles, bigger coaches, party pit. Like, it's just enhancing and we had this conversation with Giles and Chris in Georgia, and I thought that was, hey, Matt, if we have 10K to spend, what should we spend it on? Prize money for a few people that might get it, or, a better experience, quote unquote. And I think that's a good way to look at it. But I think that if they had announced this on January 1, it wouldn't have been that. It's like, okay, cool. It's not going to be what it was last year, but we have some prize money. But you waited till 8 weeks before, and you're saying when people have already, clearly, if you're going to make a decision to do this race and to train for this race, you need to make that decision well in advance. So you had someone like DJ who already said, I'm going after this big FKT. When your reigning champion doesn't return, that's a big thing. And no, they're not all racing for the money, quote unquote. Nobody who competes in OCR is making a living from it. But if you're waiting to tell them, that says something about your care about it, that you haven't told them. And what is, you know what I'm saying? Like, how no one's coming from another sport. They'd have to make it 100K, I feel like, to come from another sport and have a year to train for it.
Yeah. The way I see it is people like DJ and that they don't make a living from the OCR race, but it supplements their living. Does that make sense? Would that be fair comment?
Yeah, but it's also like, is this worth to do to my mind and my body? And he's saying, no, I'd rather go explore all of Colorado for a month or whatever he's doing, right? Or I spoke to a few other athletes. I'm not sure if I can name them, but they're like, yeah, it's just I'd rather do it. Again, it's like the Abu Dhabi thing. It's never just that it's in Abu Dhabi. It's all the other dominoes that fall. And sadly, this is back to what I was saying when I first got on. We were hoping Mutter would stay separate. And I think this is more of money saving that comes from on high. Let's cut the prize money instead of like, remember, it hasn't even gone up. It's been 10,000 for a few years, minus the COVID year, right? 2020 was nothing, or The year we came back from COVID, there was no money, and we understood that. And Kyle came through on what he said. Kyle said, give me a year to just put the event back on. And they did. Next year, boom, it was back up to 10 grand. Might have even been 15 in year 2 or 3. I'd have to go back and look. But I think that it's like womp womp. I waited all this time, and now you made it half of what it was last year. Don't you think, Ian, if they had done it on January 1st and said, hey guys, it's going to be less, but we're doing it, it wouldn't be nearly his story?
No, it wouldn't at all. It would be a case of, okay, that's fine, providing, like you say, they couple that with, yeah, guys, we're going to lower the prize money because we know that most people who buy tickets, you're here for a good time, you're here to enjoy yourself. So coach is having a whole mile of coaches discourse, something like that, with massive speakers. We're going to get you through the night that way, and that's going to cost $5,000. That's where we're spending it.
Right. We got Chris from Coldplay to show up. He's going to be in coach's pit.
They're saving themselves 10 grand. I don't see that a lot. That's not a lot of money. Saving themselves £10,000 is not a lot of money. I don't get why they're doing it.
But dare I say, the previous announcement of money from Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Could you possibly divert a few of those funds over to your company known as Tough Mudder?
Well, that is what you would do. We know that in the UK that some Spartan events don't make money where others do, because we see the numbers that go to them. So we know that some of them are potential loss leaders or maybe just breaking even. It would make sense. Whatever business you've got, you move money from one thing to another. Any business does that. So why don't Spartan do that? You're right, what you're saying, Matt. Why don't Spartan just transfer £20,000 of that money from Abu Dhabi into WTM and make WTM even bigger, attract bigger names?
Yeah, we're not foolish. We don't think all the money from Abu Dhabi is going to Abu Dhabi. There's a certain amount that will go to that, certain amount that'll go in the Spartan coffers to pay bills. And Joe's been crying poor about COVID for the last 2 years. So catch up on some of your old debts. Oh, and by the way, this is great news with Abu Dhabi. We can actually put money into World's Toughest, which you all love.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's not just that it's for a few people, and they seem to be kind of missing the point. It's not just that it's only for a few people competing for it. It's what it says about the event. You use the word world championship. Well, what are you doing this weekend? Well, I won the world championship at this race. I'm the world champion, and they paid me $10,000. That just sort of says what the event is, not like, well, at the last minute we're throwing you this much, but mostly it's to bring new people into the sport, which Joe has been promising. Joe's like, Joe flying people in for the first world championships in Killington, and they all come out of the fucking, swim and drop out because it's too cold.
Well, if they want to attract new people in the sport, if it was me, and it was my business, I'm just giving my 2 pence worth here, I would be looking at the age group categories and saying, let's pay £1,000 to every age group winner, because you've got more chance of a runner coming in from purely running to compete in it and maybe win £1,000.
You sound like a solid business person.
Thank you. And on that note, my job's done. See ya.
But again, like, let's say it was $1 million. Let's say they said £1 million for winning World's Toughest on January 1st. How many marathoners would go, okay, I'm skinny, I'm fast as fuck. Can I get in shape and learn what these obstacles are and be willing to go overnight and freeze? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They're not going to come flooding. It's not going to be like, it's not going to be, I can't think of a good example.
A tsunami of people who come over, who buy all tickets, and the honks can't come. You're right. It's going to be, I don't know, say a handful, say a couple of dozen. But Matt, something as well is one thing that the WTM honks did love is the fact that they could say after the event, oh, I competed against John Albert, I competed against Ryan Atkins. Last year, I competed against Chris and DJ, who is a good runner in his own right. So even though Joe Blogs like me has no chance of actually winning, it is nice to see those people on course and be helped over Everest by him.
Yeah, and again, people will still come. Trevor has said, I'll come every year no matter what. You know what I mean? He's won it a couple times, 100 miles a bunch of times. And again, there were people that came. There were decent runners that came the year there was no money. But again, it's you wait to say, okay, by the way, it's less than we've ever given before. And it's not even to the top team. I think it used to be men, women, and teams. And remember one year there was $100,000 bonus for the team that was a sponsored thing. So, when you guys talk every single week, are you always talking OCR? Are you talking about how much alcohol is in your mustard, or like, have you guys been able to talk? I mean, I know you have multiple shows. You have other people hosting your shows, right?
Yeah, we do now. Yeah, we're getting bigger and bigger. Yeah.
So, have you been able to talk every week about OCR?
Yeah, there's a lot happens. There's races virtually every week, or something happening every week in the UK. We're never short of it, but we do mix it in with hybrid over here and things like that. Some of the notes today are not all OCR. Quick, I did Man v Mountain last week. We're going to talk about that soon, and I've got the UTMB I want to talk about, as well as a new race and that. So yeah, there's things to talk about. We do find stuff, but our country's quite small, Matt, in terms of everyone knows what's going off. I guess does everyone like the East Coast know what goes off on the West Coast? I mean, that's in the States.
I mean, they certainly, there was a bone frog. Bone frog came back, so that's newsworthy. You had, a few hundred folks do that. Maybe it was closer to 1,000. I have to go look, but the local people, tri-state area did that race, right? And then Native X was down in Florida. So yes, all the Florida people knew about it. Maybe some of the Georgia people. I mean, when OCR was bigger, everybody, like half the people of who went to the Georgia races would go to the Florida races. Be like, hey, there's a Spartan in, or the Charlotte Spartan. And now it's just the sport has shrunk. There's still a lot of open waivers, as we've said, but the real hardcores, I don't know as many of them, if they are there. So I'd say you usually know what's happening in your region, and if you really, 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 as you follow what we do and you're talking to all the groups, then what's going on in, say, California. But usually it's like, you'll hear somebody say, let's say a local racer, Rachel Waters, she does a lot of the local races down here. So somebody be like, oh yeah, I heard Rachel posted about that race. Let me look into it. Maybe I'll do it next year. There's a series down here called Phoenix. They put on a bunch of different races, kind of in Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, kind of in all these little towns. And I should have them on my show, actually, because they have a lot going on. They seem to have a lot going on. And again, you're talking a few hundred people. They're mom and pops. They don't need to make a lot of money. But yeah, there's just been less and less to talk about.
Yeah. I think what probably helps us a little bit, Alan, is the fact that you mentioned earlier, our group is more compact.
Yeah.
So someone from up here cares about nuts, because we might go to it. You're right, Alan. Someone from the East Coast isn't going to fly to the West Coast for a 300-person race.
Yeah. The whole of the UK is probably the size of Florida, would you say? I don't know, similar size?
I believe we are, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so, I just saw a comment from Emmy Cross, who's been doing a lot of Deca and High Rocks lately, and she did a lot of Spartans. Emmy Cross says on the Spartan Dubai post, this really sucks in my opinion. I was really looking forward to the initial 3 years being over and it moving somewhere else. Guess I won't be going to the next Spartan. Guess I won't be going to the Spartan Race Championship for the next 4 years then. So I think that's a lot of people.
Yeah. It's sad about Spartan going over there and stopping over there. That's where the money is, I guess. And if that's what Joe wants to do and not put the racers' interests at heart, then and run it as a business, then I feel for him.
But yeah, take that money. Like it was the same day. Why not just, or practically the same day, just say, great, we got the money now. And listen, once upon a time, I would actually text Joe or call Joe and ask him these questions, but I can't anymore. I get the same answer every time I ask him anything. So it's, COVID and this and that. And it's like, okay, so whatever he says publicly is the answer you guys are going to have to get. Unless maybe you should have him on. Maybe you'll get something different out of him.
Well, he did visit London recently, didn't he, Alan? We completely missed our opportunity to go and say hi to Joe.
Yeah, because we're not from down London. We don't travel down there. I've actually bought a passport this week. I've actually got a passport, so I can go down to London now for the British Champs.
Yeah,
You need a
we should
passport. You need a passport to go to London.
Alan does.
It's a joke from people who live up north, Matt, that you need a passport to go down south because we all live in two different countries.
Here's what you should do. You should get Christian from Hyrox and Joe on the line, and you can ask them both how they basically invented sports that everyone can do.
Oh God, I can't imagine getting both Christian and Joe on the same call. One of them would hang up because all you'd have to say is, "How was Decker invented?" and then just walk away.
I actually haven't Christian in a long time. Was he at the last event I was at? I can't remember if I talked to him or not. No, Christian is much more enjoyable to talk to than Joe lately. I can say that.
Yeah, I like Christian. Yancey's fun to talk to.
Yancey's phenomenal to talk to. Chris, we joke because both of them like say this is the only sport where you can race against the elites and regular people together, right?
Absolutely. Except at World's Toughest, where due to no prize money, there is no elites anymore. Well, you got Trevor.
And at Spartan Dubai, where there's no OCR athletes.
At Spartan Dubai, where there's no athletes.
Oh, I will be getting a list, I'm sure, from World's Toughest, and I will still be there. I can't pull myself away. I will be in World's Toughest. I've been going every year since 2012. It's the only race I haven't missed since 2012. So I will be there. And let's see, how many locations is this? Jersey, Vegas, Laughlin, Georgia, Alabama. It's 6th location. I will be there.
Yeah. There will be a strong British contingent, including some people you know. Martin Gemmell and Kev Calder are going to be there, Matt, so you can try and understand them again. And your good friend James Burton will be there as well.
But no Will Chung and no Ian Kay, my two possibly favorite Brits.
Yeah, and no Mike Nolan either.
No Nolan either.
Right.
Nolan's never come though.
No. He's not a tough mudder honk. He's very much a Spartan honk.
What would it take? How much money would it take to have you be part of the social media crew for ORM in case I get, let's say, just a truck of money lands on me?
It's not actually a case of money. It's a case of not having the annual leave left. I don't think I could take a week over.
Okay, well, maybe you can take the jet and then it's only 24 hours. Boop, boop, 48 hours.
If there is a ORM jet that can come to Barnsley to pick me and Alan up because Alan can't travel out of Yorkshire, so he'll have to go to him, not me. Then send a jet.
Can you borrow the old Obstacle Racing magazine van? Is that still around at events?
Oh,
God, Alan, do you remember when that was given away as a prize?
Yeah, was it somebody called Matt, wasn't it, in the Midlands? Matt Balding?
I think so. It may have broken down. I can't remember. I don't think it lasted long.
I think it was broken down. That's why they raffled it off, because it was broken down. But they filled it with goodies, didn't they? When they raffled it off, they put shoes and tops and things like that inside it. But yeah.
God, it seems another lifetime where at an obstacle race you'd raffle off a vehicle, even one that can't be worked.
Well, I got some bad news. Last post for Obstacle Race magazine was May 5th, and when I type the web link, it is dead.
Yeah.
503 service temporarily unavailable. So apparently, RIP Obstacle Race magazine.
Yeah, I think their Facebook post is now starting. Kevin New is starting to post a little bit back up. So we don't know what's going to happen. I know Ram Run, which they own as well, has started to post as well. So maybe we might be seeing, and this won't be no news to our readers because everyone follows this on our socials, but they may be coming back. Something's happening. Something's afoot, shall we say, but we're not in the know to know what it is yet.
Well, it says May was the last one. There's a lot of posts in April and May, it looks like. There are friends at Rocket. There's a whole bunch of, there's a lot of races. A lot of posts in May, but then it dies.
Yeah. Is that on
no, that was May of 22. Sorry.
Is that Instagram or Facebook?
This is FB, Facebook.
Right. Okay. Well, whereas Kevin's been posted on Ram Run, then is it, Ian?
No, he's been posted on the Obstacle Race magazine group. So it's a private group, but he has been on that. So that's why it's appearing on our feeds, but it perhaps won't appear on Matt's feed.
Right. The private group, yes. That's the dreaded private groups that we try to stay out of.
The dreaded private groups.
Matt, UTMB. Let's talk UTMB with Matt, because Matt, we brought you on. 2 Americans go out and give people a lesson at UTMB.
Woo!
Jim's 6th attempt.
So yeah, Jim Walmsley, who some consider the GOAT over here. Ultra running has a lot of guys that come in for a few years and do really well, and then they kind of don't anymore. More on the women's side, I think. But Jim's one of these guys who's just always been solid, won a lot of races. But UTMB was his white whale, fourth, fifth, DNF, fourth, fifth. Every one of those races he probably led at one point. So so he finally goes out and wins it in a year that Courtney, who'd already won it again in a year that she's already won Western States. What else did she already win this year?
She's on fire. She's
beyond. So she's beyond GOAT status. Again,
Yeah.
there's a lot of women that came before her that have done really well year over year, but Courtney is Courtney's just out of this world. And unlike obstacle racing, when somebody repeats in world championships, it's impressive, but the ultra world, so many things can go wrong, as we know, in a race that long, and you just got to be on some other level. And Courtney just seems to be on some other level.
Did you watch some of the race?
Oh, and Zach Miller, who's also DNF'd UTMB and CCC. I think he's DNF'd the shorter one too. Came in second. I had him on my show 2 years ago, maybe during COVID. I don't remember. I did the go back and scroll through the live stream thing. I didn't watch any of it live. I don't know what the timing was for you guys. Did you watch it live?
I watched some of it, and I thought it was very interesting right at the start where Jim was leading, and I think it was a French guy. Was it that Jermaine Granger, I think it was, who literally he seemed to put a sprint in and left Jim just like flailing in the background. But Jim just I don't know, he was in his own mind. I think right from the off, he just got his game plan, and it worked perfect for him because he just paced it to perfection, didn't it?
But I think that's one of the cool things about ultra running is that the wheels could fall off at mile 32, 72. They could fall off at 92. You know what I mean? So you've got to just put that pace in and be consistent. So it's really hard to win a race like that. And UTMB is supposed to be the hardest one there is. So I wouldn't know.
Well, next year, I think he's going to have a challenge on his hands. So I'm going to say it here right now. We have had John Albin, OCC, first, came second in CCC last year, first in CCC this year, potentially stopping up to UTMB next year, or we hope. Could be. We could have a cracking race in his hands. And if Killian's not injured as well, you're going to have three of the best, runners in the world. There's plenty more good runners as well. Don't get me wrong when I say that, but three of the runners that are on fire at this moment in time, all competing in one race.
I would love it if John stepped up. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Alan, that's not going to happen. We all know John has just seen the $5,000 prize money for WTM. He has completely changed his training plan for this 8 weeks. He's going straight at it, and then he's heading to Abu Dhabi next year.
That's it. He's just moved. Oh, and you make me laugh with them comments.
All right, well, listen, I do need to get running. It's 4:30 here, and I'm going to get, I got to head home.
What's great is that doesn't spoil the time that we've recorded it over here for anyone, because no one knows what time zone you're in. So that's great, Matt.
All right, talk to you guys later. Thanks for having me.
Cheers, Matt. Thanks very much.
Have me back on anytime. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
It's back to me and you now. We're left in the pub with me and you.
It is. Yeah, it is. Should we carry on what we were talking about, which was man versus mountain? We've just mentioned a mountain. How was your own personal UMTB?
I loved it, Ian. I'm going to send around and say I loved it, but it was also hell. I made some mistakes. I'm not going to say I didn't. I got up in the morning, looked at the weather forecast and trusted it. Rookie mistake, never trust it. It said it was going to be warmish, low 20s up until 12 o'clock, and then it said it was going to be overcast. Nope, it was high 20s all day, sun beating down. I have never suffered DOMs like I have with that because I was dehydrated. I went out, I had plenty of water. I think it was about 8 miles to the first checkpoint, and I drank a litre of water, which was nothing special. I can do 8 miles in a litre of water. The downside after that, and this is probably, I'm going to actually turn around and say, I don't think this was potentially safe from my understanding. So the next checkpoint was 10 miles, and it was also included Snowdon Climb.
let me get this straight in my head. So you had 8 miles. You then had a checkpoint with presumably water and gels and stuff.
Water to fill up with, yeah. So filled my flasks up, got another litre of water back on my, carrying up with me with gels and nutrition and that.
But then you had effectively a 10-mile hike without a checkpoint.
Yes. I'm not keen on, I've got to turn around and say, if Rat Race do that again, they need to put a checkpoint at the top of Snowdon, because that is just, in that heat, I felt it was dangerous.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. I remember on Rat Race and Deerstalker, which may or may not have the last ever coming soon. I've no idea. I can't keep track of it. They've cancelled it that many times. It might be here, it might not be here. Look it up, listener. I don't know. But at the top of the scree, that you head up.
Yep.
I remember getting to the top of that and thinking, we need water. And there was no water then until you got all the way down to the bottom. I can understand the difficulty of getting supplies up there, but there's a train.
Exactly. And I'm sorry, but if a train can get up there and there's a cafe up there, it showed to me, when you're coming back down, to anyone who's been up Snowdon, when you're coming back down, there's a cafe, halfway down. So the cafe at the top, there's a cafe halfway down that sells ice creams and water. The queue to get there, just as Rat Race runners, was in excess of 200 long. As I went past it, there was 200 people queuing to get whatever ice creams or water or anything they got, because people were just out. The heat was just tremendous. I got a bit of sunstroke. I got home got back to my digs that evening, and I got sunstroke. I know I got sunstroke because when you get into bed, you're shivering when you get into bed. I was absolutely shivering when I got into bed, so I know I suffered a bit of sunstroke out there. But it was potentially dangerous. I've got to say, 10 miles in that heat with 1 litre of water is potentially dangerous. And I felt it, and I said it earlier, and I got the DOMS. The only time I've got is when I was seriously dehydrated, and I've had them for 3 days, and yesterday's training run got rid of them. But yeah, Rat Race, if you're listening, just put an extra pit stop in somewhere. You need something for these runners. Some of these are not experienced. A lot of people were not experienced runners. And that.
No, and I saw a few friends of mine who sadly DNF'd on it, because I think it might have been after they left that checkpoint and worked out how much further they had to go. I think a couple, maybe 18K, I think I saw, which kind of fits in with your kind of timeline though, isn't it? Because 8 mile would be 14K, so I probably did another few miles, realised that it's just not for them. But it did look like a major event, and I'm kind of sorry that Rat Race is leaving these kind of one-day events, because
but are they? Are they? They've done a Mr. Mouse here. They've done a Mr. Mouse. They have done a Mr. Mouse. It's the last ever Man v Mountain, but it's not, because we have got a Sea to Summit series. It's going to be the same race. Oh, well, I'm going to assume it's going to be the same race, because they're doing coast to Snowdon, they're doing the coast to Ben Nevis, coast to Scaffold Pike. It's just changing its name.
I'm trying to think. Scaffold Pike isn't exactly close to any course that I can think of.
It's not too far. If you look at it on a map, I would say it's about 12 to 13 miles from the east coast.
Really? Is it that close? I always thought it was more inland.
No, I did. I've got to admit, I always felt it was inland as well, but I've looked at it on the map, and it looks about 12 to 13 miles from me. That's in a straight line. We're not talking about a straight line here, so it might be marathon distance. I don't know. I'm
going to say that you really need to work on your map reading skills, given I was right. It is in the Lake District. If you want to run from Newcastle to Scaffold Pike, you're more than welcome to from the East Coast, but I've been running from the West Coast.
Sorry, the West Coast, I meant. Yeah, my fault.
I'd probably be running from maybe Ravenglass or somewhere like that. But yeah, I guess it's a bit closer. That would actually make it a challenge, Alan. Oh, could we suggest this to a Rat Race? Let's make it a challenge that it's not who does the course to summit the fastest. It's who covers the most miles and finishes it within a time.
Who finishes it within a time, yeah.
So you have to start at a course. You can pick any course, and you got 17 hours to do it.
That would be quite cool. I like that. I like that. Any coast, 17 hours, make your own route.
Sorry,
like that.
I'm just going to take this for. This reminds me of a race that got killed by COVID, which sounded like the best race ever.
Which was that?
It was going to start on the Pennine Briery. Is
Yeah.
it Briery where the horses go?
Yes, Bridal Way.
Bridal Way, right? Yeah, I just mangled it together, but don't worry, Martin, that's for you, Mr. Gemmell. But yeah, the Pennine Bridal Way up towards Burnley were interconnected, and you could either go north down the up the Bridal Way or south.
Yeah.
Okay, you with me so far?
Yeah.
You had either 24 hours or 12 hours, and what you had to do was run north or south and then get back. And it was whoever covered the most distance. And if you missed the cutoff, you DNF'd.
I like that. That's a good idea, that, because if you go 12 hours, you think, I'll go 6 hours one way, then 6 hours back. But coming back could be slightly different. You never know. And you run a bit slower later in the day. Ooh, I like that. I like that.
I do like it. And I'm so sorry that the race got killed by COVID and no one's ever done it. It just seems like such a great race to, an out and back that you can, or even if you did it just on a single out and back, could you imagine the mind games, particularly at the competitive side of you see someone coming back and you think, well, firstly, how far away have they gone? I need to get there. And can you imagine if someone turns right in front of you?
Oh, yeah. I like that. I really like that idea. Maybe we should put it on, Ian.
Maybe we should. Let's get some funding and put it on. It wouldn't be as much fun. Yeah, it wouldn't be as much fun in the farm where the race that shan't be named on. I don't think you'd get very. We'd have to do it as a 20-minute race.
Yeah, yeah, it won't be the same. Can I get a couple of shout outs for people I ran with on Man v Mountain?
Of course you can.
So ran with Kieran McAvoy and Craig Turner for a lot of the first half of the race. Big thank you to them guys for being out there. And then on that part of the racing, we was talking to Kieran, and Kieran was saying people wouldn't recognise me anymore because I don't attend as many events as I used to and things like that. And I was going, yeah. He says, the only way someone will recognise you now is if they hear your voice. And as I was coming down Snowdon, someone said something to me, and I was just talking to someone, Johnny, went, oh, is that the infamous Muddy Duck? And I went, yeah. And he went, I listen to your podcast. So big shout out to Craig, who has recently been over and done 75 miles at Chicago Tough Mudder, I want to say Infinity. He was telling me in that. So big shout out to you, Craig. Thank you for keeping me company for half hour or so as I was struggling to come down Snowdon.
I can't believe it, Alan. What are the chances of meeting our only listener on Snowdon?
Amazing, mate. I loved it. But no, that race though, great event. Got to turn around and say their markings were phenomenal. And the best part of their course was their markings. No one could get lost on that course. But Snowdon, it's the top of a mountain. I know a train goes up it, but there must have been 1,000 people. There was more people at the top of Snowdon than went to Abu Dhabi last year.
Yeah, I can imagine that, particularly in the sunny weather.
So cool. I've also came back this weekend, Ian, and I've signed up for Diablo at last. Meant to do it ages ago, kept forgetting to do it. Finally done it. Currently, boys and girls, it's only 42 quid if you want to sign up. You don't get a t-shirt with it now, but you do get the medal. 7K, 27 obstacles, 23rd of September 2023. Come and join me for a bit of a bimble round and a bit of fun getting around. Looking forward to going to a brand new OCR.
I can't wait to see how it goes, Alan. And unfortunately, I can't make it this time. We're double booked, I think almost triple booked that particular weekend. We often talk about this. It's funny how certain weekends just seem to have all the events. And meanwhile, this weekend, well, you've got Tough Mudder on over in Cholmondeley Castle, but not a lot else. Alan, we didn't put this on the notes, and we shouldn't probably admit we didn't put this on the notes, but Nuts Race was this past weekend. And should we go through the results?
Well, I was going to, but I'm hoping that Who's Hot's got the results.
Should we go through the results?
Let's go through the results.
Okay, so we've got the 1 lap 7K. I have just literally, guys, clicked on the gender results here. So if any of these are wrong, Go blame nuts. It's not me for a change. I'm not going through anything. I'm just clicking on gender results. So female, we have got Amber Jane Cullen Haynes in 1:02:56. We've then got Fedi in 1:03:04. Then we've got Louise Ferryman in 1:05:18. Again, that's the results as they're being presented. Alan, are you going to tell me that they're wrong?
I'm going to tell you that the first place is wrong. Yeah, so Fedi won the UKOCR series race. Second, you are right in saying it was Louise Ferryman. And third, Becky Neal. So that's who won the actual races. Not sure where the first one come from. Maybe didn't keep the bands. I don't know.
Perhaps it is a band thing. We love you guys, but please can you sort this out and make me look less of an idiot, because I can do a good job of that myself. Male, I'm fairly sure these are right. Richard Pavey first.
No.
Okay, Morgan Maxwell first.
Yes!
There we go. I just had to track. James Burton second, and I've no idea who third is because it's gender results. It doesn't say.
Chris Shipley.
Well done, Chris. Congrats.
So the co-hosts of Who's Odd came third in both men's and women's.
Allegedly, so yes, they did, except according to notes, they didn't. They came fourth. Sorry, guys. We'll dock your pay.
We'll dock your pay. Sounds like a cracking race. I heard James had one of the best races of his career, and it's really not going into a lot of detail because they're posting on our Facebook page. But the UKOCR series is going to be really hot for the very last race. There are in the men's both Morgan and Dan can win it, depending on the way the chips fall on the day. Morgan's got to go out and win, and Dan's got to finish worse than second, and it could go down to Morgan. In the women's, it looks Fedi's almost got it, but it's super close out there. But all four categories are really close. Even in the elite, it's only in the masters category. It's open. It's so open. All four can be won on the day. It's going to be an amazing event. The British Champs. I can't wait to go down and watch it.
No, I can't wait to see how it unfolds. Can I also shout out the non-binary category as well? Based on these times, I'm not going to give out the times. They do appear to be more fun runners, but well done to you getting out there. We've got Larson Campbell, Aman Khan, and Amma Find. They were the top three. Let's quickly go through the other results. And yeah, these male, I don't think it matters too much, does it? Because I don't think this was a championship race at this stage. So I believe they'll be doing burpees if they got it wrong, if they failed an obstacle.
That's right, yeah.
So non-binary, we had Ross Tavender. So well done to Ross. Male, first place, Philip Bierman. Second place, Danny Corti. And third place, Alistair Bruton. Female, Dawn Greenleaf. Well done to Dawn.
Well done.
I presume relation to Finlay.
I think so, yeah. I think mum.
Second, Zara Harrison. Third, Sadie Francis. In the free laps, let's again click on the gender results. No non-binaries in this, but we had Nathan Martin, Barry Core, and Ben Douglas for the males. Females, Angelique Douglas and Tracy Panel. They were the only females taking part, but had great results. In the male four laps, we had Sam McLeish taking it in sub 6 hours, Alan.
Oh, wow.
So 5:49:25. So well done, Sam. We then had our friend Nicholas Bowerman in fourth place. These Yankees coming over here, stealing our podium spots. He was 6:06:10, which is quite impressive given that he messaged me the day before and asked, is that 100 obstacles per lap?
Yeah. So he now knows that to run, what is it, 28 kilometers and 6 hours, it's a little bit tougher than Spartan Beast.
It is a little bit tougher than Spartan Beast, yeah. And in third place, Simon Terry with 6:56:25. Our good friend Shelley Tompkins, Alan, took first place in the female, and Bonnie Higgs took second place.
Can I give a shout out to Shelley as well, because she didn't fail a single obstacle, which I think is for not 4 laps and not a single failure. Well done, Shelley.
Burpee free.
Burpee free. Everything was done. Yeah, perfect.
Okay, we then have the Nuts Limitless. We have Ben Yallop took it with 5 laps in 7 hours, 23:29. James Chester was second with, again, 5 laps with a little over 8 hours. Then Thomas, how do you say his surname? Because you do know this gentleman. Thomas Pidzinski?
Paszynski, yeah.
Pidzinski, there we go. He did 4 laps, but interestingly, he actually did 4 laps quicker than the guys who won the 4 laps event.
That wouldn't surprise me from Thomas. He is an absolute phenomenal runner. Didn't go back out for 5 though.
I wonder if he got timed out.
I mean, he stopped in the pits for a little bit longer or something. I don't know.
Yeah, perhaps, or I'm not sure how long you get. Is it 9 hours for limitless? I can never tell. Yes, so he probably did have enough time to walk another lap, so maybe he just got caught. And then at female, we only had one competitor, which was Veda Cantrelli. Oh, I can't say that. I'm sorry. Veda, well done. Got 4 laps again in sub 7 hours. So well done to Veda.
Well done. Awesome run. Awesome run. What's happening in our fitness racing world? Have you got any news for me?
Yeah, we'll quickly go through. I attended the AFEX this past weekend. I was actually on Matt's show. I'm probably overexposing myself this week. But if you go to Hybrid Fitness Media, we chatted about AFEX on there a bit more. So go and have a listen to that. It was a great event, Alan. I really enjoyed it. I can see quite a few people from the OCR world enjoying it too. What I like about it is the fact that when they announce the lifts, you're going to be able to practice those particular lifts. This year it was back squat and shoulder to overhead. Next year they'll announce the next set, and I just get this feeling. I had a similar feeling finishing that than I did after London High Rocks.
Ooh.
The first one.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
So I do think people should support this competition and just see where it goes. Because the only negative, because we do both things, is it took them about 4 days for all the results to be finalised.
Oh.
And I don't know why. I'm not quite sure why. They weren't chip timed, which was unfortunate. It was similar to a Deca where you took your clipboard with you and they judged you on time on certain events. But yeah, that's the only criticism I could give, is they need to get them results out quicker.
Unless you're chip timed or using some type of technology, it's always hard to collate.
It is, and I think unfortunately it was a bottleneck of having maybe a couple of people manually inputting results.
Yeah. Not good, Ian. Not good, that is it.
But if that's the only blemish, in terms of participation, people loved it. And I think that's, at the end of the day, the only thing we can be concerned about. Oh, one piece of news, Alan. We almost forgot to mention. High Rocks World Champs is going to France.
Ooh! Paris?
Nice.
Yeah, thanks. I've got a niece, yes, thank you. And I've got a nephew as well.
No, just next to Monaco, Alan. Not your niece. Definitely not your niece.
So why not Paris or Monaco?
Well, Monaco's just around the corner and more expensive. I presume, actually, looking at the venue, it looks like a really cool venue.
Cool.
Of course, the venue we put up on the UK.HXR was an old picture. And that picture that I put up, that part has now been demolished. But the actual venue still looks okay.
Oh, you don't like that. We put a picture up, it's the wrong picture.
I blame Wikipedia. I found out this news at like 10 to 5 on Friday. I had like 10 minutes to sort something out. To be fair to High Rocks, the press release came in 2 hours before. I just hadn't read it. So I had like 10 minutes to get something ready, went on Wikipedia, got the wrong venue, put it up, and wouldn't you know, by the time I figured it out, we'd had so many likes on it, I thought, you know what? No, if I kill this, the algorithms are going to kill us. So we've just left it up. It's a nice shrine to our stupidity sometimes.
I like it.
But Oh, should we put that on the notes for next week and let's have a bit more chat on it? Because got some thoughts on that, but we are running out of time thanks to our, well, it's been a good episode, and unfortunately it's been a heavy news week, hasn't it?
It has. I think we're actually very much, I think that's the end of it, Ian. I think we've gone through all our notes. Apart from Tough Mudder this weekend over in Northwest. Are you going?
I hope to be there as a spectator at least. I may or may not take our recording equipment, and I may or may not get you some content. I'll just see how I feel on the day. Actually, I need to check the weather. A lot of it depends on the weather and that kind of thing. But yeah, have a look out for us. I will probably not be wearing anything relating to UKOCR, so look out for the voice, I guess.
Look out for the voice.
No, if it's been washed, I might wear my UKOCR. The problem is, Alan, I was looking at our UKOCR stuff because I threw it in the wash today. Yeah. It's black and it's going to be warm.
We need some white stuff, don't we? We need some nice bright stuff.
We need some new kit. I was thinking this. It's been a while since we brought out a running top. We need some more kit.
I'm hoping to get some new kit soon. Some 361 trail shoes. 361 Future. Watch this space.
Well, are you buying these? Are these actually free, by the way?
Yes, these will be free. Yeah, yeah.
That's my first time after all them years of telling various partners that these are free samples. You're finally getting some free samples.
I'm actually free. Yeah. I'm actually getting some free samples. All them years I've paid for them and told people they're free samples. This year they're actually free samples.
And if you're a long-time listener of this show, that joke will probably hit a little bit different if you go and listen to the last 3 episodes or so. But anyway, so we're to the end of our note. Should I?
Yes, by the way.
To a conclusion. So, listener, great to speak to you all as usual. Thank you for choosing to have us talking to you in the ears on a Friday, on a Saturday, on a Sunday, whenever you do. Look at Patreon if you want to support the show. If it's not for you, support us by leaving a review or by going to Builder and buying some Builder for using the code UKHXR. It gets you some money off. It gives us, I don't know, a little bit of money. And yeah, something like that. By supporting our sponsors, you're supporting us. And yeah, Alan, it's goodbye from me.
And on that note, and as Ian says about Builder, if you are a Patreon, and if your name is Charlotte Malone, you need to send me your address because you have won a tub of Builder. Yes, our Patreons won a tub of Builder, or one of them did on Charlotte Malone on the weekend. Listeners, thank you very much for listening. You take care, you stay safe. We will speak to you all soon. Bye.